Welcome to my podcast, As I See It. And basically, the upcoming podcast will give you my point of view, really, as I see things. So it's important that I think you understand who I am and where I'm coming from, so you'll have that context. My name is Tom Doktorski. I grew up in Hudson County, New Jersey, a Democratic bastion, and it's been that way for quite a while. And as I grew up basically in a Democratic family. And the first time I had an opportunity to vote was for JFK, and that was in his second term, and I did vote for him. And I was happy, and not terribly into politics, but paid attention. And then we had Johnson come along. And then Johnson, really didn't care for Johnson. I thought he was, a bit of a backroom politician, somewhat corrupt, not a nice guy, and I didn't like some of his policies and stuff and the things that he was doing, so that's kind of where I was with him. And then after Johnson, I voted for Nixon. And I thought Nixon was pretty good. Of course, he had his Watergate moment. So be it. That was it. And there's not much more I can say on that. He was followed by Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford picked up his remaining term. Jerry Ford kept the country going, I guess. You can't say too much. He wasn't good. He wasn't bad. We just kind of toddled along. And then after him was Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was a nice man, good heart, not really that capable for the job. I mean, he may have been a great peanut farmer, but I think the job was a bit over his head. We had the big gas crisis. I can remember being online to get gas and the stuff that's going on in the Middle East and, whatever. So Ford was not terribly, not Ford. Jimmy was not terribly good, I didn't think. And can't even remember who I voted for at that time. It was because Ford was and Carter. So God knows who I voted for, but it turned out that I guess if either one got in, it wasn't going to be great shakes. And then we had Reagan, and Reagan. He was the man. He stepped up. He brought down the Berlin Wall. The economy was doing great. Everything was going fine, and he was a good president. And you could get excited about him and support him. And then after Reagan, we had George H. Bush, who kind of kept the country going. I can't get again. I get more excited over his wife. That she was a hell of a woman. But he was okay. And then that was followed by Clinton. And Clinton, he was a young guy, wasn't bad. Did I vote for Clinton? I don't know, I may have. I'm not even sure, because Clinton had charisma. But once he, everybody had their, or a number of them had their dalliances, and, we won't hold that against them. However, to do it in the Oval Office, you show if you have no respect for yourself, at least have it for the presidency. And that kind of turned me off. It kind of made him look like a real schmuck, that's not who we want to be, our guy. And then after Clinton was George W. Bush, the younger, and he was okay, although he made a mistake, I think, in taking out Iraq, as they kept Iran in check. And now we got, Iran's now our problem. But that was his mistake, and I can't say I was too excited over him as well. And then after Bush was Obama. And Obama, I think he began to separate the country at that point in time. We got to remember the beer summit, and we get into that, and he was our first black president, which was wonderful. Nobody's got a problem with that. But he started to divide us a bit. Maybe he felt that it was now their turn to exercise their whatever. I don't know, but the seeds of division, I think, were planted during Obama's administration. And then after Obama, we had Trump. And Trump was great. Things were good in the country. We were at peace. There was nothing going on in the world in terms of wars or anything. Everybody, they respected Trump, maybe out of fear that they thought he was half a nut. But whatever it was, it worked. So I have no problems. It's what works, And after I didn't even had the COVID. COVID, that was a tough one. And unfortunately, I think he listened to Fauci for much too long. But again, he's not a doctor. He doesn't have a background in that. You got to look to your experts. And he looked to Fauci, but in the end, he kind of saw that this guy was not helping us. But anyway, that was kind of his story. And then we go to Biden. And Biden took those seeds that I think were planted by Obama and continued to sow them and grow them and divide the country even more, divide us into different groups. And society can't exist as all these different groups. You have to have a commonality. You have to have a common agreement. Yet you can still have your own little idiosyncrasies. You can still have your Italian group where you go into the Italian section for your pasta and meatballs. You can go to but we're still all the same people. We all have the same needs, the same desires. Maybe we eat something different, but So you can have your own little culture, but the culture shouldn't prevent you from becoming part of the American culture. And that's kind of brings us up to date. That's kind of my background. That's kind of my beliefs. I don't believe in prejudice. I try to accept people as they are, and it's probably your values is what I'm looking at. I don't care if you're black, white, green, whatever. If you share my values, and I don't mean 100%, but if I don't have a problem. It's, if you have these arcane, crazy values, you can exist and you can do whatever you want as long as you don't harm me. I really kind of don't care, but don't expect me to accept your values. You don't accept mine, and that's fine. But, let's be able to live together. Let's have a social contract. And that social contract should allow all of us to live together. So that's my background, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. And my future podcasts, you'll be hearing from me on the events of the week and how I see it. Thank you for your time.